All right, let's just jump right in. And look, forget everything you've seen in those old, dusty survival manuals. Today, we're doing a real-world crash course in how to stay alive when nature gets, well, when it gets really, really angry. We're going to cover the exact moves to make, and maybe more importantly, what not to do when things go sideways fast.
So I want you to picture this. You're out in the mountains. It's just one of those perfect days, you know? You and your best friend are hitting a trail. You're miles from civilization. The air is so crisp. The views are absolutely incredible. You're feeling like you're on top of the world.
I mean, everything is just perfect. The sun's on your face, not a cloud in the sky, and the only sound is the crunch of your boots on the path. It's the kind of day you know you're going to remember for a long, long time. Just maybe not for the reasons you're thinking right now.
And then, it happens. Out of nowhere, the ground under your feet just lurches. And I'm not talking about a gentle sway. This is a violent, terrifying shudder. The whole mountain feels like it's convulsing, shaking like a wet dog. And the sound? It's just this deafening roar.
Every single instinct in your body is just screaming. Trees are whipping back and forth, rocks are starting to break loose and tumble down the slopes. Your heart is pounding so hard you can feel it in your throat. In this one split second of pure, unfiltered chaos, your next move could literally be your last. So, what do you do?
Luckily for you, in the back of your mind, you've packed the official survival pamphlet, right? This isn't about gut feelings, it's not about guesswork. This is about the proven, life-saving actions that experts agree are your absolute best shot. So, let's open it up. And there it is, the golden rule for any earthquake. Drop, cover, and hold on. It's so simple. First, you drop to your hands and knees. This immediately stops the quake from knocking you flat. Next, you cover your head and neck by getting under something solid, like, hey, that big rock ledge right there. And finally, you hold on tight and ride it out. Why? Because the biggest danger in an earthquake isn't the ground moving, it's stuff falling on you. This simple move is your best defense, period. Now your bro, on the other hand, well, let's just say he did not read the pamphlet. He's decided to go with pure, raw instinct. And as we're about to see, his instincts are fantastically, almost impressively wrong. And the difference is pretty stark. While you're safely tucked under that ledge following the rules, your bro is standing in the middle of a clearing, feet planted wide, literally challenging the forces of geology. He seems to think he can actually intimidate the ground into stopping. It's a perfect example of how panic and ego can lead you to make some truly, truly terrible decisions. And yes, he actually yelled that. It's a bold strategy, I'll give him that, but here's the thing. Tectonic plates are notoriously immune to trash talk. His biggest mistake? Running out into the open, making himself a perfect target for any falling rocks or trees. Okay, miraculously, you both make it. The ground goes still. But just as you're taking your first deep breath, a new smell hits you. It's sharp, it's smoke, thick and nasty. You look up and you see this huge plume rising from the next ridge over. The earthquake triggered a forest fire, and the wind is blowing it straight at you. All right, time to flip to the next page in that mental pamphlet. Rule number 1 for a wildfire: don't panic, assess. Where's the fire? Which way is the wind blowing? The key is to move away from the fire's path. And here's the crucial bit, the part people get wrong. Move downhill. Fire races uphill because heat rises, preheating all the fuel above it. Going down gives you a massive, massive advantage. Your goal is to find a natural fire break, any area with nothing to burn, like a rocky field or a lake.
So what do? You check the wind, you see the fire, and you immediately start moving downhill, scanning for a clearing. And your bro, he sees the flames and decides he's going to outrun them by charging directly uphill straight into the smoke. He's also wearing flammable synthetic clothing and, oh yeah, he's stopping for a quick dramatic selfie with the smoke cloud.
His logic is basically, I can beat it in a foot race. But here's the reality. A wildfire can move faster than an Olympic sprinter, especially going uphill. His confidence, once again, is his absolute worst enemy. This is the ultimate proof that it's knowledge, not just being in shape, that gets you through a disaster. So what was the point of this whole disastrous hike? Well, it's not just about what to do in an earthquake or a fire. It's about the principles that apply to pretty much any crisis you could ever face. The story of you and your bro really breaks down a core set of rules for survival. This right here, this is your real survival kit. And it has nothing to do with fancy gear. It's all about your mindset. Being prepared, that's knowing a hike in California could mean earthquakes. Staying calm, that's the difference between you taking cover and your bro trying to fight the planet.
Having a plan? That's remembering drop cover and hold on instead of just running. And acting smart? Well, that's moving downhill away from a fire while your bro's running uphill for a selfie. In any crisis, these 4 things will save your life.
You made it off that mountain because you were ready. You had a plan. But this story isn't really about a hike, is it? It's about your car. It's about your office. It's about your home. It's about being ready for whatever nature might decide to throw at you, wherever you are. So the real question, the one you need to ask yourself right now, is this. You survived the hike, but is your home prepared?